Not sure that recording is gonna go. Okay, hi guys, welcome to Go to School Ruby on Rails class. It's something that teaches you full stack development, and we just choose Ruby as something we're good at. And we tried a Node.js class last time, but for now we want to focus on Ruby on Rails. It also teaches JavaScript. You have to learn it while you're taking this class. So you're not here for iOS, for Android. If you are, welcome, but you're too early. It's tomorrow. Alright, so the goal of this class, ask yourself, you come from different backgrounds. Some knows database developer, systems developer, mobile developer. Some just not a developer. You want to be a developer. We pick some framework to learn and hope that this hands-on experience will help you learn in the fastest way possible. You've never learned this fast before. So let's try it, we can do it. So complex web apps, like in Vietnam, what are some cool websites that, if I really want to build it, I can build it. Well, it doesn't scale, I can do it. Ticket box, easy, simple version of Twitter maybe, who knows. And Instagram and all these other things. So name one really complicated web app. Obviously, this is a dream, right? In mobile, it's possible to build things that you see on the App Store, except for games. Games very different. In the web, there's just so many random things. So, we try to do what we can, right? Do you know one Vietnamese website that's really complicated to build? What is it? You can build ticket box in 2 weeks. After taking 2 weeks of this class. I don't know, something that is really like lots of people and maybe handle lots of traffics. Oh, it's Zing, okay? Anyway, we'll get there with some samples, highlights of good submissions. Thank you for all the submissions. What we look for is that with your experience, you built this. We ask you to do a little more. Can you do it? Do you really want to take this class, or you feel you're going to be it's okay, just give it a try. So thank you all for giving the effort and for believing in us. So you sitting here means you're holding some spot that other people want, but they can't make it. So I want to highlight one submission. This one is too big. Google Drive doesn't let me upload a 50 megabyte and above file, and this is 53 megabyte. But you see, Tim, this is Tim. He made this pretty cool app, but I guess this is a little long, hard to see. But I'll leave it there first. But even includes statistics, you see. So it's like you push yourself. What can what do I want to see? It's not asked by the pre-work, but he added a few cool stuff. So instead of adding voting right at the end, just do thumbs up, thumbs down. So this is a really cool one in terms of concept. Lots of fun features. You can check it out. And another important thing is how you document your work. So other people, when they see it, immediately they can appreciate the work, right? So when I read this, it's like, this is awesome. He follow the instruction here. There's a required and optional, and then all these additional features. And as you add them, right? Some of these tasks, right, takes like a few hours. Then it really make those hours worth it by writing it down here. If you don't update, there's no point. So that's a cool one. Let's see. Another one is Lang, right? So another one's like simple using Bootstrap. What we recommend. Now, don't stop there. Sometimes some of you want to customize the colors, use some templates. Go ahead with your homework. Make it prettier. We have seen a lot of beautiful, apps. But at least when you're working on your project, if you use Bootstrap, don't be lazy, right? All the buttons have to look like Bootstrap buttons. This is a card element wrapping around it, right? When you build your mobile app, the experience is usually very consistent, right? They only have a few components. The buttons always look the same. There's certain components. But on the web, people get too lazy. They put too many things on the screen. So then sometimes the screen look really ugly. But so what I ask is that don't just use the default, but try to learn the Bootstrap way. And from there, you can just customize the template and make it better. There's some additional features here like tagging, and well, he also wrote a bunch more features, a lot. And he actually did even more features. So there's some extra stuff, maybe icons if you like to add them. So adding a little bit over time. Where's we? Right, there. These two took the iOS class, so they're not just web but also mobile people. Where's Fu? Okay, Fu. It's a new edition. No, like I add this. Don't do that, right? You see that screen is really bad. Try to Bootstrap give you the font. You can change it, but keep it like that. All the text field and the button. Don't just use the normal ones. Like try to have a consistent UI. But here he take advantage of the card, and so I thought be more creative, right? If you lay out the cards, you will run into some problems like this one too long here, and then how do you make sure that it's displayed properly? There's some JavaScript plugin to show you that. Okay. So lots more, but let's get started with this first week. And the goal is to get you started with Rails. Some already know a little bit, but let's make sure you all understand the core concepts very well. I'd like to introduce the staff. So I'm Harley, one of Code School founder, and I'm teaching Ruby now. I've taught iOS in the past. These guys took my Ruby class in the past. So I'd like them to introduce themselves a little bit. V?
My name is Wei. I'm alumnus of Code School. I took the Ruby class last year. It's my first time at SDI, so I'm expecting from my teacher.
So that's V. He took both iOS and Ruby. He was the winner of the first ever Code School class. So back then, each team member got an Apple Watch. Winner of the iOS class. And then
Hello, my name is Tom. I'm also a Ruby analyst of Code School. I'm taking a coding class last year. Unfortunately, we ended up with quite a prize, but absolutely it's a very great journey and with a lot of exciting people. So this is why I decided to go back, and it is the second time I'm working as a team from Code School.
that's done, and V. Give a hand of applause. So you see, we have Slack. I'll go more into it, but TAs are very important. They grade your homework to make sure you get feedback on time, and they also answer a lot of questions. So I hope that this is a learning experience for them as well. Thank you, Tan, especially to come back the second time. They're volunteering their time, and it's the spirit that we hope to get right at Code School. So more people link up and do things together. I'm Harley. I am Vietnamese, but I need to post on Facebook. Sorry, I haven't. But you guys should go home and make some posts about yourself as well. I did my university in the States and then also worked there for a few years. I had 2 funded startups in the state, but back in relevant to here, in 2007, I created the web development team at my school, Yale University, and then we started building some cool projects for the school, and then open source app a little bit. So that back then, 2007, and then 8, 9, 10, that's when Ruby became so popular. That's when GitHub became popular. And then until 2012, during that time, Ruby and Rails on Rails was very hot. And then Node.js took over. But still, it's a very useful framework to learn. There's a very interesting history about Rails. What mistake they made and why they're not as popular anymore. But Rails now becomes the new PHP, which is just very convenient. It's powerful, good security, good maintenance, this whole support. So we think it's still good to teach it. A lot of Code School in the US also still teach it. So now our class structure is that it's very similar to last time, but this time we want to push you guys more. So I'm not afraid to kick some people out because we have more than 10. We are happy with 10. In the past, we have 20 because this is what we have 8 weeks. And I talk to each one of you, every one of you on Skype video, and I interview all of you. And you all know what to expect. What I hope is that we'll give some more interview prep, some more materials on data structures, how to present yourself better on GitHub, LinkedIn, and your projects, right? So hopefully it's a very useful platform for you guys to upgrade, and we help you achieve after go to school, get new opportunities. Now, but there's a demo day presentation. Who here has been to a demo day before? Some of you, yeah. So we've done, forgot now, maybe 7 demo days, and each time we do something different. Sometimes we combine and do sometimes like 200 people, 300 or 500 plus people. And this time, I think all of us here have similar goals. Basically, we want to learn this, and most of us want to have a new job, new challenge at the end. And we want the projects to be more like job fair or like something that show off to employers. And if you normally apply to a company, you like apply and then they schedule you to come in, one time and then second time. For us, we hope to actually make it possible for companies to come to you, and then you just save a lot of time because you can talk to a lot of companies and cooler companies, right? As in, it's normally very hard for one person to discover all the best places to apply to. Anyway, but we don't have the date set. Just know that from now, it's 8 weeks on until April 5th. It's there. I know Tim cannot be here on week 9, but if we can do the final demo day, just presentation of your projects on week 9 or week 10. So we see how it goes. So class policy is very important to point out. Discipline, right, is what we want to achieve in this class. It's the respect, right? That it's a structure and respect we want to have in the class. So if you think you cannot meet this, you should have told me during our interview. But if it changes, you can let me know. And our goal is actually to keep all of you through 8 weeks because I already talked to you. So if you quit, I would take in there as my failure. So I hope that we achieve that. Okay, so I've just mentioned this. Anything that you feel like asking question, if you feel suitable over email, just like open your phone and type email ruby@codeschool.vn. That goes to 3 of us. Slack is probably the best place to ask anything under the sun because you can ask a stupid question, you can delete it later, or someone will ask something else and this just go away. Facebook is nice to post some announcement. We post a lot of pictures over time. Let's be social as well, and that's where maybe you can share some nice articles, right? And that you can actually see who likes it and whatnot. We will probably do some voting there, like what time should we do office hours on Saturday. All right, so this slide is important. When you do your homework, it's very easy to get stuck. If you work on Ruby, on Rails, just like Node.js, man, there's so many things that can go wrong with your computer, right? So just be patient, write down things that you've done, and ask questions intelligently. Post screenshots, show error, give information about your computer. Now, homework is intended to be not perfect. It was asked you to do a lot of things, but you're like, how the hell do I do this, right? And start it early so you have time to think about it. If you get stuck, then you can stop it there and wait and you ask a question. See if anyone has done it. They can share some opinion. We will provide some support. Breadth first approach. Let's say we ask you to do 5 tasks, required features. Don't spend 5 hours with just one feature. It's like, I'll just keep doing this. That's depth first, right? And then you end up getting exhausted. You don't even finish the minimum. It's most important to submit on time with the required features, and you can keep improving on it if you want. But it's a lot less pressure, right? It's just prioritization, right? So we work together if you want to. Saturday we tend to do a tutorial session optional. It's like maybe 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or more. We tend to stay back, and you can come and can just do it together. Feel free to also propose, hey, who want to work together tonight? We have some crazy people last time that just say, hey, who want to go to McDonald's and work all night? Well, so that's a cool class. Just keep working all night. But yeah, share anything you learned, right? And do the optional if you have the chance. Right? But before you do the optional, maybe just make it pretty. Make it as nice as you can, because full stack means it's front end and back end. So let's then be a little bit less lecture like. We're doing activity. This group, there's like 3 of you here. Introduce each other, and you fall over there. This group is divided, 4 of you over here and 4 of you over there, right? And then one person will share with the class, okay? You've done something about Rails. Let's talk about what is nice about Rails and why you want to take it or something. Why Rails? Why are you learning Rails? So in this group, yeah, I give you 5 minutes. Feel free to introduce each other, get to know each other. Start with. Okay. Oh, I can see. Okay. So, nice. Okay, so you guys are
just see
okay. So you guys are what I call like real developers. I do. I mostly work with WordPress and just build like do your client work. Just like a marketing website. So when I write,
don't worry, spend time talking
like
about
WordPress functions, like just get something from the database and then you go quick. So almost all I use. Wow. Charlie talked about earlier to create a introduction center and into a demo day. So two.
no problem. So wait, you finish this without being talked about.
What's good about Rails? So we're like the exact I only do the front end because how execution stuff is the best. I don't know much about Rails, but the convention is Two more minutes. Okay. Yeah, I'm never.
So rapid development, regular stuff.
Before that,
But I see if the problem is out, so you can to the product is
Yeah. So you can quickly build products and demonstrate its value.
oh yes.
30 seconds.
Security, right?
so it used to for
Okay, do you need more time? Do we need more time? No? Alright, let's start sharing a little bit. There's no wrong or right answer. Get started thinking. Okay, so one of you three who wanna share? Okay, Tim.
All right. Should I stand up or sit?
No, whatever, comfortable.
All right. So we were discussing the benefits of Rails being rapid development.
Okay.
So you can build an app quickly. And my friend Juan here was telling me that Twitter was built on Rails initially.
Yeah.
It didn't scale well, so they converted it later. So it might be a good platform to demonstrate like the viability of the product,
Okay.
and then do something else down the road. Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah. Good point. Did we understand that? Build fast and maybe if it, just to check if it works out well. Later you can change to something else, you're saying. Okay, what about this group? Who can, okay, what's your name? Work, and where you work at? Okay, great. And so what are some group ideas? Okay, yeah? Okay, yeah. So it's easy to set up, fast to build. Okay. Okay, support common standard. Yeah, good point. So your whole group agree?
yes.
Anything else?
Yes.
That's okay. Okay, this group. Try to remember what's missing. Okay. Your name?
My name is
Okay.
just like say is message.
Uh-huh.
Second, when we want to modify that is easier to maintain.
Okay.
And one of they are not paying connect to CR.
Okay. So is it good or bad?
So then
Oh no? Okay. Good. So some good new points here. Also, yes, easier to set up. But you mentioned it's easy to extend and maintain. And then also say, oh, because there are not many Ruby developers in Vietnam. So maybe if you're more a Ruby developer, you're more expensive than a PHP developer. The saying, Jack. Let's keep discussing, right? All right. Let's go.
So we have a different experience with Rails because everybody is from the one month to the 1 week experience,
Okay.
and we totally agree on the fastness of the Ruby and Rails.
Okay.
We also like the
the structure of it, which is the model view controller, which help a lot in terms of creating and also like fixing stuff in the structure of your website. Also, we talk about like how convenient it is to use Gem in Ruby and Rails. Gem is a huge thing. They basically they automate everything that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some very good points here you guys did not mention. Gem, what is Gem? Gem is a library. It's called Gem in the Ruby world, right? It's dependency. So it's a way to plug in libraries into your project in an easy way. You can maintain the version. Dependency means Gem A depends on Gem B, Gem C depends on Gem B. How can they work together? Even circular dependency. A depends on C. You see, it's not easy. And Ruby is one of the systems that use bundler to manage it quite well. And NPM, learn from it in other systems. So, cool. Some good things here. I will share a little bit. Actually, between Ruby and Java, what language was created first?
Java.
Ruby. But Java is the most important language in the world. It's most popular. But anyway, I think Ruby was like in 1994, so Java is like in 95. But after 10 years later, right? This David Henderson guy, DHH, when he showed up, this like creating a blog in 15 minutes in 2005, I think, or six. The whole world went crazy. And then, because normally, yes, but if you create a project, you use Java before, you have to go into this configuration file, you set this database, go to this address, set this username. No one agree on the same kind of username and all these extra things. So Rails was all convention over configuration, right? You create a class user, there's no need to have a file that say, well, the table name will be users, blah, blah, blah. It's just all convention. Class user means database is users. There's so many convention that was built that people liked. It makes people happy. And Rails version 0 point something, already a lot of people use it. So over time, convention over configuration is the biggest advantage that led to even the gem thing. Just run bundle. Like you don't have to specify where is the bundle file, like where's the gem file. It's just there. And people debate a lot of where do you put this gem file? Should it be in a different folder, in a vendor folder? Why do you put it in the root folder? All these little things, but they finally agree on this root convention. As Rails developed, it's easy to extend, like you say, easy to code, come up with things. A few years later, it became a nightmare. We have so many bad Ruby and Rails developers and then add things, and now it's easy then, but now you come in, it's like, oh my god, I don't know what I wrote. It becomes very messy. Some languages have check, right? You have to compile. It's very useful to alert you, but Ruby is so flexible that Rails just take advantage of it. But sometimes you have some bug that you forget, you check in, and no one knows until the user hit that page, right? So some cool stuff.
I have one idea about the syntax of Ruby.
Yeah.
The syntax is more complex than the Python. Python is more easier.
Okay.
Now we have Django framework. And everything is the same as Rails.
Okay.
And I think it's easier to learn.
Good feedback there. So who here knows Python? Nice. So some of you, do you think Python is easier to learn or Ruby is easier to learn? Same? Python is easier? Okay. Django, and who here knows Django? Just a little bit. So Python is like you write function. You can pass the function around. Yes, Ruby is object oriented. Everything is an object and you pass the object around. You cannot pass a function. You can pass a block. And they have certain differences. Ruby is, there are many ways to do things. And Python, there's only one way to do things. So Python, sometimes to do simple things, you always have to write a little bit more, but it's very clear. So I like Python as well. In a file, you know what function, what files it import from. In Ruby, it's all like, whoa, how did it work? The entire folder was just loaded. As you use it, pay attention to what's more convenient. So with Django, have you used DRF, Django REST Framework? So as you build it more complicated, Django has more limitations. Actually, Django may even be older than Rails. Yeah, but over time it's just not as popular. So both are fine. There's just a lot more fancy, cool things. I think the biggest thing about Rails is the gems. It's gem for everything under the sun, right? You don't need to implement login, tagging, whatever. But of course, I encourage you to just do it yourself. It's quite for the easy stuff and learn from other people. That's all fine. Websites that use Ruby on Rails, you can search. Probably now, it becomes one of the most, popular language for good reason. GitHub, Groupon, Zappos, anything like that is like the newer kind of big platform. Obviously, Facebook was built a long time ago, but Twitter moved away from Ruby for a few reasons. Also because back then the scaling techniques were different, and their Ruby developers did not really learn Ruby very well, so they moved to other platforms. So there are some people who say, they didn't know how to scale. Some other people say, okay, it's just a good opportunity to rewrite. It's not exactly because Ruby cannot scale. So, all right. So let's continue with just why Ruby here. I gave you some chance to get to know one another in a group. Next time we'll move around a little bit. Let's learn the Ruby language. There's some point about Python and such. So what's cool about the Ruby language, okay, show of hands. This is like 1 month, 2 months, and 5 months experience with Ruby, right? So can you show your hand? 1, 2, 3. How many months of Ruby? 0 month. Well, just say 1 month if it's less than 1 month. So some people need more than one hand. Most people just hate me. They're like, yeah, correct. That's why I'm here. What the, Okay. Well, then there's no excuse. You have to learn Ruby. And when do you learn it? When you're taking a shit in the toilet. Read something. I'm not going to teach you in class. You have to learn it by yourself. Well, we're going to use, the cool thing about Ruby is that people still develop very actively, and we always try to use the latest version. So in my demo, I only set up for 2.3.1, but they have 2.4 here, and we will probably switch to that. I'll just use that next time. No big difference, but it just get faster and more stable, better security. I also have something called the Ruby guide here that you guys should spend time reading. And what is it, right? Let's go through a little bit. I go through super fast here. This Hello World example, obviously scripting languages like that, just put, there's a P. If you want, you can also use P. P just convert the second thing into a string. So it's like put blah dot inspect. So there's a P, but you normally see put, and it put a new line. And if you write IRB in the terminal, that's a great way to learn the Ruby language, right? Then you're like, oh my God, I used to take a month to learn Java. It just takes you 1 hour to learn Ruby, the same amount, because it's so much easier to test. So that's standard, but there's some convention like, how to do power, the star, instead of the word power. So Ruby focuses a lot on the nice stuff. And method, similar to Python, but Ruby prefer the N word here. And this is a method. This is in the general object class. So you don't have any class in it, but you can define a method. But that's a method in the overall object class. And you can call the method with or without the parentheses. So this is different from Python and other languages. But the convention, when you don't have an argument, then don't put parentheses, looks clean. When you have an argument, put it, it looks clear. Right? If you don't put it, and your friend is like def space, high space, name, what the hell is that? Right? Make it clear for someone to read. Obviously, this is a cool thing that I don't understand why JavaScript and Python took so long to add, right? Just add the damn variable inside the string. What's so hard about it, right? So you can interpolate like that, and the single quoted string is when you cannot, right, extrapolate this variable. So it's clear, right? Don't do this, right? And when you are calling, then it's sometimes if a statement is by itself, it's quite nice to read. That's okay. Other times, just use parentheses and just make it very clear. All right, class, object-oriented, right? So what you expect, there's a class declaration and then initialize, not a new thing. They want to make it different. So when you do this, initialize, then you can call greeter.new and we'll run this. Why is called initialize? This is an internal method. It doesn't return a value similar to these guys. When you run this, it has a return value. When you run this, it has a return value. But when you run initialize, it returns you the object itself, greeter.new. Makes sense, right? So data types is cool. Everything is an object. So that's quite fascinating. You can learn about data structure. Most important is the hash, key, and value. Okay? Because you can use it for a lot of things. Conditional checking, right? But you can see a string, right? Here's a string. If you do this dot class, it becomes a string class. But then you can also find the class of, one is a number. So fixed num is a class of 1, right? But then if you ask for the class of fixed num is an instance of integer. And then integer is an instance of numeric. You see? This here becomes numeric. So 4.3 is a float. So it's like that. There's a class hierarchy, right? So you have basic object, and then under it there's object, and then down there you have like integer, string, and then under integer you have like numeric. No, under numeric you have integer, and then float. So you can play around with it. See just how easy to look into the relationship. You can, for any object, you say, okay, what is my parent class? So think object-oriented in this, class. There's a new data structure called, something you should know. It's a symbol. It's a symbol class and a nil. Nil by itself is a nil class. True, there's a true class, and false is a false class. Those are just three crazy things, but you don't have to worry so much. Nil and false always evaluate to. It's like false, right? You call that falsy. And if A, then do something. A, if it's nil or false, then that's if doesn't execute. But if A is an empty string or 0, they still execute because that is not nil, not false, right? So it's called truthy. Truthy, falsy. Okay, very fast. So obviously you can go home and read more about it. Symbol is cool because it's important to understand every time you use a string, that's a new instance of a string. So you can call object ID. That's like the identifier of where it is. This object. So you and I can have the same name, but our passport number is different, right? So this is the passport number of these guys. But if you have a symbol, so it's just like my username here, right? There's only one. And if you create a symbol, it creates something in memory. Use it again, it's the same thing. So it's more efficient when you deal with a lot of objects at once. So hash is cool, right? You can use a symbol as a key, or you can use a string as a key. A symbol as key like this, it looks more like JSON structure. Actually JSON choose string as key. You have to convert to that. But I think in JavaScript you can also accept this hash structure. But it's easier to write, right? And then because the key is used many times, so people prefer to use symbol. Does it make sense? Because otherwise every time I say hash1, then it creates a new one string. You don't have to care in your normal usage. It's just if you load a lot of things and you start caring about performance, it's good to know why. So the symbol thing, it makes sense, right? When you use it though, you use hash, square, and what? I can't type there. Okay, and then :1. So let me see if I can write. Slow down anyway for you guys. So this one you call it #1. Where is it? Okay. Doesn't update yet. So array, this look like anything else, right? This makes sense? Index 0, string, there's a single quoted string, double quoted string, and there's so many other types of string and any other types that you can use in Ruby. You can find out. There's percentage, and then you can put some stuff in it, but I won't confuse you for now. This is another cool thing, is that this is greeter is a class, right? But a class in Ruby is an instance of the object class. And in the object class, these are the methods. So here, remember we have def say hi, def say bye, right? Then these are the instance method of greeter. But all the other methods are instance method of object that this guy inherits. Make sense? Inherit. So you can check, what's a good way to check only for instance method of greeter. Who knows how to display only? So maybe I'll just edit directly here. All right, so you can access that here under this. Here's the trick. You can do a minus, and then it only display what the methods in greeter. Make sense? Or you can pass in an optional argument which is false, but it's like, it's kind of hard to remember, right? The first one makes more sense. You can always minus the parent methods. Okay? Now, instance method means the methods without the self dot in it. So def say hi, def something. And object.methods means, why are we comparing this? This instance method include the method you define for the greeter class, and the instance method defined in the object class. You cannot say object.instance method, because then you are asking for the instance method of the object's parents. So that one, some of you nod. There has other people that no, I don't make sense. It's okay. Think about it. It will make sense when you go home and play with that. So just understand that plus and minus, they also special method. They're like the plus and method symbol. And so technically, 1 dot plus is actually 1 plus. So that's the language. So it's like, a bit crazy, right? So you can write this if you want, but who want to write that? Okay, same thing. This is how it works. Index method, right? So you put a number in here, but it's the same thing as putting it as an argument. Okay?
In the array,
Yeah.
use the direction symbols. Can we what is the difference?
The direction symbol, that's
I want to ask, can you member to the array? Array push.
yeah. That's the same as push. Yeah, that's an operator. Less, it means just append. This array is here and a new object is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is here. When you do like this, less than, it will put this one inside this array, but it's the same object in memory. It's the same pointer to this in memory. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. If there's no space, it will move everyone to a new place and then add 5 to it. Right? Similar if you do C programming, you know what I talk about. But pointer, you don't have to worry about in Ruby.
What is the difference between push and print?
Puts and print. So if you call print, it doesn't put an enter, a new line at the end, put it will. It's just more convenient, yeah? Okay, so that is a bit about Ruby. So, did you learn more about Ruby in just 5 minutes? Okay, so that's how we teach you. Everything is just that fast. All right, gem file. You already took a look at it, and one way to find some good library is to go to awesome Ruby and then check them out. Like login, device, some other layout or Bootstrap, something like that. Deployment, Heroku was so popular when it came out, also thanks to Rails, and then over time they added other languages. So the best way to create just HTML pages and then deploy to Heroku is to just add one line of code, PHP code, and push, and it just render the entire static website, because Heroku also accept PHP, but with PHP it's just like one line included, and it's all this display. Ruby is a whole thing here, it's more complicated. Or you can learn Sinatra and other things, but Node.js, PHP, everything can be deployed to Heroku easily because they have a build pack. They have something that's a rule, right, for each programming language. So yeah, that's the thing about Rails. They decide what you should use. The most popular now is PostgreSQL as a database. A lot of people used to use MongoDB and some other things, but MongoDB has caused enough problems in the world that now people stay away from it. Go back to PostgreSQL. If you do database, that's the most practical database for you to learn. Scalable, powerful, great, just great company. But
Except the ERB should we use HAML?
Yeah, good question. I normally use Slim, SILN, SLIM. It's faster than Haml, and also simpler. But Haml became popular early on. So ERB is fine to start with. It's very easy for your designer to look and see, because with ERB, which is HTML plus Ruby, right? You can jump from beginning tag and closing tag. You can see, this guy is a div between here and there. Haml and Slim just do indentation base, so it's a div here and everything inside. But it's very hard for you to jump to the end of the tag. So you have to go, go in indentation. But up to you. So learn Slim. I use Slim in all projects, but if I code with you guys, I use ERB. CoffeeScript used to be popular. Now I actually advise you to use JavaScript because people are dropping CoffeeScript. Most of CoffeeScript nice features already built into JavaScript in the new ECMAScript, right? The ES5, then they changed about ES6, and then ES 2016. And so what happened now is that the code people like to write in JavaScript project is a new standard, right? ES 2016. And then that code get transpiled. They include Babel to convert it into old school JavaScript because the browser has not supported, right? But the server, yes. If you write Node.js, the server already knows how to handle that kind of thing. For CSS, just go and learn CSS because it's just the same as CSS, except you can use nested. You can use curly braces inside curly braces. Sass will be more like Haml. Sass and Haml are brother and sister. So Rails Jews support this, but they don't support Haml. But they were built by same people. So, but now it's popular separately. All right, Rails structure. I mean, to be honest, this is what it's an exercise to look at it, but it's pointless right now for me to explain to you. All of you, if I ask you, how much do you understand? This means, everything, and this means nothing, and all of you will just give me a fist. But I try anyway. Let's see what time is it? 8. You see, from the browser, right? Someone types something. It goes localhost here or Heroku. It sends an HTTP request, right? Because the browser is always request and then response, right? So the request go here and response go here. Good, that's the browser. Web server receive request. So you have usually like Nginx or Apache. These guys are just like, they can handle requests, and you set up some rules to divide certain logic and also log errors if that happen. So Rails sit on top of this guy. So you have the web server and then you have the app server. Sort of integrate. Sometimes something try to be both, like Fusion, Passenger. But usually you have Nginx, that's a recommended one. And then it's much more lightweight than Apache. And also they provide reverse proxy, which means you can say, these 4 requests, one go here, one go here, one go here, one go here. And then Rails server can get hooked up with Nginx. Nginx say, oh, go to this location, run this Rails app, right? Run this other app. And that's where we now have the URL, the request URL. So the routes file, remember, Rails has the routes definition. So in that file, it detects, what controller should I go to? It goes to the controller. Technically, there's this dispatcher here, right? But it's not shown to you, but there's an action dispatcher class in Rails. But it goes to, because this guy can decide, oh, you go into images, CSS file, JavaScript file, don't go to controller, just go straight, right? Or something like that. There's some other ways. Even you can set up the rule here so it skips all the static files to enter here so it's faster. Make sense? Cool, right? Controller then, it's a dynamic code. Of course, for now, most stuff will go to our controller. Let's not try to optimize. It's easy to change. So here, let's say About Us page, no problem. Home controller, About Us action, done, right? And then you go to the view. Okay. In Django is different. View is a view template. In Rails, just view is like an HTML file with some Ruby variables. Make sense? And then controller can also call in the background, say, hey, go email this person. You want to do that in the background because email connect to a mail server. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You should retry. But if you call it without background, then you're like making this guy wait, right? Connecting another third party. But that's something to think about for now. If you just say, hey, thank you for signing up. Here's the email. Here's the link to confirm your account. No problem. You can just call it, make the server wait just an extra second. But when you learn background jobs, and you have to push it to run in the background. Makes sense, right? But when the controller, they need content as simple logic as possible. Controller is like our admin, right? That person's not supposed to figure out how to do all this other complicated stuff like calculate everyone's salary and stuff. No, it means I'm just telling you where to go. I just know where to get information. So controller will be like, give me the latest 5 blog posts, all right? Or go search for this thing and this thing, or track this user's activity. You just visit this page once, all right? So go to controller. Controller can call the model. Yeah, model sit on top of database. It makes things easier to write. So you can say user dot most popular. It can give you the most popular user instead of like database where you like select star from users where user dot and then join this other table. You want to write some useful query so you can reuse query. So your model will become fat, and we put some logic in there. And as you become better, you don't want to use this model. You want some service object and some other things to talk to it. But for now in this class, this is good enough. So that is no longer, okay, we don't use XML response and all that, but Rails can provide many types of response, HTML, XML, JavaScript, JSON. We mainly do JSON, JS, JavaScript, and HTML. XML is the same sort of idea. Or this. What can you see here? You should not call too much model stuff in the view, yeah? Let's try to keep things that simple. Okay. So with that, let's do our first homework. You guys can take note. It will not be possible if you can try to just follow along, but I will try to do the homework together in class. And feel free to stop me, okay? Now before I do that, let's go take a bio break, go stretch.